Guys, it's time to embark on a journey with me, a very long journey.
So there's been quite the hiatus between these reviews. February of 2019 to July 2024. So
Yeah.
a little over almost 5.5 years. A little break in between.
Just a little break.
All right, so the way that we're going to handle this is kind of like when a show gets canceled and then the fans have like a backlash and the studio greenlights like a one-off movie to shut them the fuck up kind of thing. No one's asking us for this, so that's not what I mean. This is more for myself.
Yeah.
Because I canceled my own show.
Right.
And then was bitching in my head about my own cancellation.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know, we were covering the X-Files episode to episode. We got all the way up until season 7, episode 21, one episode before the season finale of season 7. And then we stopped.
We did.
Because we just literally were not getting any views, almost at all. They were like barely breaking 100 per video, if that, somewhere like in the 60s and 70s. And then some people who work like commenting were like, nobody gives a shit, stop with these.
Yeah, there was definitely like...
We lost a lot of subscribers over it because
Yeah.
as we were posting it, they were like, you're flooding my feed with these stupid videos, this and that.
Which is understandable, and also just like we were... I won't say we were losing interest, but like doing the reviews, like there's just so many episodes that we did not care about.
Yeah.
And that we would sit there and be like, what do we say? Like, we didn't like this episode, but like it's there's just so many episodes of X-Files and the show's so inconsistent.
So now that we're doing Buffy,
yeah,
the way that we're doing Buffy, which is season by season, not episode by episode, which is how we will be covering shows that are older from now on. Shows like The Last of Us or whatever that are airing episode by episode, week by week, that are new things, Yellow Jackets and whatnot. We'll continue, of course, to do those episode by episode because that's fun and it's fun to speculate and it's, you know, it's new and it's fresh and it's this and that. And with these types of shows, it was a big mistake trying to cover them. You know, I did Tales from the Crypt episode by episode. That actually did pretty well. You know, I did Are You Afraid of the Dark episode by episode. That didn't do so well, but I didn't get as much backlash. But with this one, man, yeah, it was just brutal. And then we were starting to, like, put them only for members. And then we got, like, 20 episodes, like, behind on members stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
I have notes for every episode up until, like, somewhere deep into season 9. And then I was like, I don't think we're ever doing these. So I just stopped taking notes. So we're not here to talk about each individual episode, of course. There's probably 70, 80 episodes we didn't end up covering, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Actually, I can tell you exactly how many. We didn't cover season 8, it's 21. Season 9, which is 19, so that's 40, 41, plus the 16, right, that are here, which is 57. 57 episodes in one film. We didn't cover the film either. We covered the first film, but not the second film, I want to believe. So almost 60 some odd episodes and a movie. So it is what it is. You know, we apologize for anyone who was following along. There were a couple people that were like loving it and watching every one of them. And so we apologize to those 2 or 3 people
that were watching with us.
That were enjoying it. But you know, at least, hey, we got this little end cap here. We are kind of finishing it. I stopped on Are You Afraid of the Dark after season 5, and there were still 2 seasons to go, and I never did return to it. There's definitely been some shows we drop out of because no one seems to have any interest, right?
Right.
Like, we didn't finish Servant.
Yeah.
We kind of pulled out of that one because no one was really watching. I think we did do all of the Day of the Dead series.
We did, weirdly.
But nobody watched that show or our episode recaps.
You know, sometimes it is what it is. Like, we watch a lot of things And not everybody has makes the time to watch stuff like we do. So there's also that, too, where it's like sometimes we just watch shows that, like, nobody else is really watching.
The show that I actually got the most attention for when I was reviewing, and I still get comments to this day all the time, is the Slasher show.
Oh, interesting, yeah.
Which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, so we left off on the season finale of season 8,
Oh,
or
God.
season 7, which is the return of Billy Miles. That type of stuff.
Oh,
We're not really here to
God.
talk
Oh,
about
God.
each individual episode, but that is the one that we kind of missed out on. You know, when it comes to the through line narrative of this show, we've talked about it before, but because we're doing the end cap here, both Kaylee and I can definitely speak for each other on this one. But this show is all about its Monster of the Week episodes. I think the through line, when you're actually watching it, like back to back to back, which was never really the intention of the show writers.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of like people just kind of watched things sporadically. They never watched things in order. And, the people who were watching it, so much time would be passing, and they didn't
Right.
release things on DVD at that point and whatnot yet. And so I think that they just kind of didn't care. They were like, they changed things up. There's a lot of retconning. There's a lot of like rug pulls that never end up amounting to anything. The Mulder's sister thing is got to be one of the most anticlimactic things in the history of television.
Oh my gosh.
The amount
It's
of
so
times
frustrating
that we did different things with Mulder's sister, where
Yes.
she was like cloned, and her like child clones were working in the fields with all these other ones, and they were like they were drone clones.
Yeah,
and
'cause
they were like
working with the bees.
yeah, they didn't really have any personalities or anything. They were not really real people.
And
then
the
there was
adult
like
clones that were like in a
oh
lab.
yeah, but they were like lied to Mulder, and they were
Yeah.
like, we're not actually your sister. And then there's the one that Smoking Man brings to Mulder in the diner. Then there's the one that he's like in the house with in his fantasy, which I think is maybe the same actress, but then it's revealed later that no, this happened. But then we finally get the reveal, as I think they just were like, fuck it, I don't know what else to do anymore. She was actually murdered by a serial killer,
Right.
like days after she was taken. And
Yes.
this is all, and the show goes back and forth on this whole like, there's no aliens at all. It's
Right.
always been a big conspiracy,
Right.
to then showing us full on aliens.
I mean, it ultimately ends with, yes, aliens are real. Like, that's definitely where things end.
Yeah, but how many
But I
different
agree- but it
endings
does
did we have
do-
to this show?
I know, it does definitely go back and forth for a while where it just keeps being like, and
Because
it's
season
so
5 was
frustrating.
supposed to be the end. It literally
Right.
ends, like the opening thing says the end, and then we were supposed to just do movies from there, which Fox was like, fuck that, we're out. We're
Yeah.
going to do TV shows. And then they ended it again. Like season 7 kind of was like the end for Mulder for the most part. Then they ended it in season 9. Then they kind of revitalized it with the movie years later. And then they revitalized it again with season 10. And then they revitalized it again years later with season 11. And it's like, and now they're still talking. Like Ryan Coogler is coming in and wants to bring it back again. And I'm like, I don't want it to come back.
I don't either. I mean, I think Ryan Coogler could do a good job, but I just feel like the show, like, we talked about it a little bit in our Buffy season 1. Like, X-Files is an extremely important show to me, for
Yep.
sure. It had a huge impact on the things I was interested in. I have a lot of really fond memories of watching X-Files. I've always been super interested in aliens, and, like, it is that, like, jumping point, I think, for a lot of people. But, like you said, it's just so clear that the show was not meant to be watched the way that we watched it, because there's so many inconsistencies. There's so many issues with character development or lack thereof. We love Scully, but like we hated how her character is treated for the majority of the show, because she's always got to be the skeptic to the point where it like is unbelievable that she would be so skeptical. Like where she witnesses such extraordinary things, like things that are unexplainable, or even things that are that she thinks are unexplainable that they explain with like a supernatural or an alien or like a whatever thing, but then she just kind of goes back to being in that same, you know, skeptic mindset, and I feel like it holds back the show and it holds back her for sure. I think she could easily have still been the strong scientific woman and like have room for things, because again, just the inconsistencies. Then you have episodes where she's having like spiritual, like, religious experiences that she's like a full-on believer for.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a lot about like when Mulder leaves the show, like when he's abducted and it's just Reyes and Dogget, like Scully becomes the Mulder. She's the believer.
Yeah.
And then once Mulder's back, she's really like right back to being.
Back into it.
So it's just very lame that they like have to do that. I know that's the like iconic roles, like people even reference it, like the Mulder and Scully like duo, but you don't. It doesn't have to be so black and white, like for sure, you know. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, I don't know. There's just so much to talk about.
This
I guess.
is just, you know, like we've talked about and people have commented, and you know, it's just, it was a different time.
Yes.
For narrative storytelling through episodic form, right? Like this was a show that was doing the week to week thing, and you can almost look at every episode like an alternate reality episode, you know, because there is a formula, and the formula has to have A, B, and C, and in order to have A, B, and C, you can never really have movement in your characters. So Mulder's always got to be the believer who's kind of questioning. He always has to be like, no, it's I want to believe. I'm not really a believer.
Right.
But then
He's
Scully
like the
is like, I
agnostic
don't want to believe.
Yeah.
You know, but she's trying to be open, and she'll always have some movement, or Mulder will have some movement, and then boom, like they're rubber bands. They snap right back into place as soon as the next episode airs. And it's like that, when you compare it to a modern show, of course, and this, you know, we've been trained to watch shows now differently than we watched shows then.
Right.
And this is not to take anything away from the cultural impact or the importance of the show or how much I love the show, you know, with my memory of it and the episodes that I love and whatever. There's great episodes. There's great characters here.
Yeah.
But the writers never knew what to do with them if you're going to try to equate it to something modern.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
But that's not the intention. So I don't want to rag on the show too much, because that's just it was made and created in the wrong time period to satisfy us in that way. That being said, though, yeah,
the new seasons do the exact same thing.
That's what I was just going to literally say.
Yeah, like I
can't
agree
forgive
with
season 10 or 11 for doing it.
So it's like if it does come back, it needs to follow, and because shows nowadays are extended movies, right? Like you can sit there with characters and you're there specifically to watch them go through a journey together.
But isn't it too late? Like,
I'm just saying,
we
like,
do a season 12.
I don't want there to be one.
I mean,
it can be done. We were shocked at the way the show ended.
Oh my god, it was
we
awful.
were literally
awful.
Like, this is probably one of the worst endings of a show we've ever seen. So like 1,000%, they can pick it up and be like, here we go, like here's the next thing.
I don't think I don't think the creators know how to handle their characters at all. I think they made really good characters and never knew what to do with them.
Yeah.
I'm not usually this person, but the level of disrespect shown to characters in this show is actually pretty upsetting. I'm not like a raging, you know, like fan that's like pissed off at what shows do typically. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh come on, that's stupid, whatever. You know, even with some of my favorite shows that ended up having bad finales or bad seasons or whatever, like Dexter season 8 or something, and the last episode of Dexter New Blood and where I was just like, you know, it's annoying and it's like, it's a bad thing, but there's so much greatness to it, and they did such a good job with the rest of it that it's like, I don't feel like I'm super upset with the show. But like, not only in addition to the stuff we just talked about, but also the way that they kill off characters in this show, the lone gunman, Skinner, Reyes, they all just feel so uninspired and so like disrespectful, because, you know, it's hard to talk about this because this show's so recent. I'm trying to think of a good example that isn't super recent, but like, okay, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad kills off their main character, and they do it in a really good way, and everyone feels satisfied. And there's tons of ways to do this. You can kill off characters. I don't care. I fucking watch Game of Thrones.
That's definitely not
you can
the
kill
problem.
Ned Stark. You can kill fucking
Last
everybody.
of Us, like,
right. You can kill people off, and you can do it in the right way. But the way the lone gunmen die, the way that Walter Skinner's death is by far the most angering of them all.
Absolutely. Because Skinner is one of those characters that we love. You know, I mean, all of them, right? Like the lone gunman, but like, yeah, like Skinner is a part of the team, and I feel like they also did him dirty. He's constantly getting caught in these like weird, you know, whether or not it's Krychek or like the smoking man. Like he's always which it makes sense because he's like, you know, the assistant director and stuff. So he's like, whatever. He's just getting like roped into these conspiracies, even though he's always trying to help Mulder and Scully through it all. He just can't always tell them like what's going on. But he's their friend throughout everything, even if they have moments of like wavering trust in him. And like his death was insane. It was so insane. We were just like, that's it? And then you don't get anything after? Yeah, I agree. I think it's very disrespectful to the characters, and it isn't that they're dead, again, because like it's fine. I think that the show probably could have done more of like killing characters off and like adding to the drama, because it does it early on, right? Like Scully's sister gets killed, you know, obviously Mulder's, you know, parents and stuff, right? Like that happens, but then they kind of drop it, and I think all the deaths from basically that point, which are mostly just at the very end of the show, suck. Like the writing just sucks. So yeah, the show, like I think our biggest takeaway is definitely that the Monster of the Week episodes are by far and away the best part of the show. And all of the, like, the first two seasons, I'll say that the overall plot, like the through line isn't as bad because it's like new still. But then by the time you're like at season 5 pretty much, even maybe 4, it's just like you are literally like, I felt like we were watching it just like waiting for that episode to end so we can get to the next like cool, you know, case that they're going to be on.
Besides the first movie, Fight the Future, which I love, that actually handles the through line of the alien story very well. And I actually wish they would have stuck to the idea of doing films and continued down that path. But they didn't. And they went with back to TV, and there's some great episodes throughout. Every season has great episodes. There's not a single season, and I feel like we've been being negative this whole time. But we're more frustrated with the like connective narrative of the show and those episodes. So like, if you put that stuff aside, I still really enjoy most of the episodes, because most of the episodes are Monster of the Week episodes. You know, like, so getting into the, you know, season 8 and 9, which is kind of where we left off, this introduces us to Dogget, played by Robert Patrick, and you know,
and
Reyes, played by Annabeth Gish, who I really enjoy both of them as characters. What they do to Reyes in the revival show,
oh my god,
is abysmal. Like,
it makes no sense.
And speaking of deaths, I mean, how can we not talk about the fact that not only do they kill off the smoking man multiple times, and it's like, no, this guy's dead. This guy's dead.
He's dead for real.
Like, he is fucking dead multiple times. But the last time he dies, we literally see his skeletal structure of his,
Because
like,
he's being blown up.
blown up, and you
Like-
literally see like CGI of his fucking skull, his full skull. And then in the revival, he looks better than he's ever looked. This is like Michael Myers at the end of 2, bringing him back, and then Halloween 5 when he's crying and you can see his like beautifully like Noxema'd skin.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? No, you should be nothing
hate
but bone.
that they brought him back so much, because his involvement with everything gets so convoluted. Like,
So stupid.
he's Mulder's dad, or like, you know, just all the stuff that's going on with him just feels like they have to do that.
Not even
And-
that, but they do it as fucking he's
Which-
Scully's son's
Yeah,
father as well.
that's crazy. Which is funny because I actually like the flashback Smoking Man episode where we get like
Oh,
his
yeah.
origin.
Great episode.
I love that episode.
Yeah.
I think that's like a really cool episode.
Yeah.
And it's obviously very funny that the actor that ends up playing his son is playing him in that.
Jeffrey Spender.
Yeah, but love that episode.
And then
So-
Jeffrey Spender is fucking like brought back, and it's actually the actor, and
Yeah.
he's like playing a burned person, even though he was shot to death in the chest.
he was like
what the
experimented on.
fuck?
It gets very weird with like that. This is what we're saying though. Like the through line is just very confusing. Like when you're watching it. But yeah, as much as we've been kind of like criticizing the show, like we do love the other parts. Like we love the characters, like Mulder and Scully. Like there's so many great moments with them throughout the show. There's so many great episodes. And Dogget and Reyes, same thing. Like you have that like initial like, ooh, like they're not Mulder and Scully, like I don't know, but I really feel like they do such a good job at like bringing those characters into our hearts, like if you give them a chance. I don't know, I thought
They
that they
gave
were
us
wonderful.
a giant middle finger with both Mulder, Scully, and Reyes and Dogget when it came to, and it's totally fine if you think that Reyes and Dogget's like romance was kind of a forced thing because they're a male and a female, and of course they gotta be together and romantically involved. I can meet you fine. I can meet you there.
Yeah.
But they still teased it multiple times.
Yeah.
And it was like, even though it only lasted for 2 seasons, thank God, and we didn't have to deal with it for the fucking 11 seasons we did with Mulder and Scully. The Mulder and Scully thing with them, like, romantically involved, not romantically involved, teasing it, giving it, taking it away, giving it, taking it away, teasing it, taking it away.
Like literally up until the very end.
It was actually
It's
like,
like
it felt
insane.
it almost felt like torture. Like, that's
Yeah.
actually what it felt like to me. It actually felt like they were torturing the audience.
It feels like they just never really wanted them to be together, but like the producers are like, you have to like kind of make them together. So they just kept going back and forth on that.
It's one
But
of the most
it
annoying
definitely,
love stories of all
like,
time.
yeah, I agree. I think that like, okay, like maybe Reyes and Dogget, like sure, like they didn't really need to be a couple.
I agree.
I would have been fine with it. Like that's definitely a trope that you see in, especially in older television series, where it's like anytime there's like a man and a woman as a partner, like they do try and force the romance.
There's a show
but-
I watched called The Killing, which I really enjoyed, and it's a male and female like detective duo, and there is literally zero chemistry, zero hint of them being romantically entangled at all
Yeah.
in the whole show. And the last episode, they're like in love with each other and
Oh.
get together, and you're like,
I hate that.
huh?
I hate that.
They did the same thing with Northern Exposure. I think they didn't know what else to do because
Ugh.
Fleischman left the show.
Which
And then they were
just,
like, well, we got to put someone together. So they put Maggie, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but I
it's-
was just like, what the fuck is this? They've literally never had 1 second.
Yeah, I mean that's just lazy writing because there's so many other kinds of relationships to explore.
Sure.
And, like,
I would have been
let's-
fine
people-
if Mulder and Scully were never romantic.
If they were never romantic, yeah, because I think that like platonic relationships can be just as important as romantic ones.
Absolutely.
But that being said, they do set up a romance for Mulder and Scully, and it's definitely there
1,000
is
times.
chemistry, and it is there. Like, you know, it's not out of nowhere, and it makes sense for their characters too. Like they do complement one another, but they just like the giving and taking of that is so, and it is literally up until the very end when all of a sudden Scully's like, I'm pregnant, and you're like, what? Wait, what?
They literally leave off like season 7 with them is it season 7? I think it's, or 8. Whatever one it is. I think it's 8, 7 or 8, but like Mulder and Scully, he like holds her hand and is like,
with the baby.
You know, yeah, I think it's season 8. And she, you know, basically like, I finally figured out what we need or whatever, and it's each other.
Yeah.
And then literally the next episode,
he's gone.
He's left. He's gone, and they're like not together. And I was like, "Are you out of your fucking mind with this show? Are you out of your mind with this shit?"
So crazy.
And I can blame David Duchovny to a degree because he wanted to be Mr. Movie Star, very, you know, very just like Joel Fleischman from Northern Exposure, Rob Morrow. They both, you know, they wanted to go off and have their big movie career, and TV was beneath them. And, you know, they found that these, you know, and I get it. You're on these sets for 6 fucking months, and you're doing the same shit. And with a show like this, you know, I know it's an iconic show, and it's great at times. But if I was him, I'd also be frustrated and be like, what is this shit? Some of his episodes are actually, he directs 2 episodes.
Yeah, he writes or just directs. Yeah, I like his episodes that he does. And then
but don't you hate that like they mostly make it like Scully's pining for him and he's never really fully there?
Yeah, I do. I hate that, but it's I don't like it. I definitely don't like it. I mean, we talked about in some other episodes just kind of how Scully's character is treated in general. She never gets a desk. She's never like. I think she eventually gets one, but like, it's bad.
She gets a one when he leaves.
Yeah, she gets
But she's not even part of the X-Files. That's another thing with season 8 and 9 when they like pulled Mulder out of the show, and then they tried to like put Scully in, but only as like an advisor.
Yeah, she's like a consultant for them.
And I think that like Reyes and Dogget were of course supposed to be the new Mulder and Scully, and they did the same thing in season 10.
Yeah.
Where they brought in the chick,
the new ones. Yeah, the, like new Mulder and
Laura Ambrose and Stephen Amell's brother, Robbie Amell. They both are supposed to be like the new Mulder and Scully for a second. And it's just like it's like that they were too afraid to truly pull the trigger on it, and they were like, no one's gonna watch if they don't come back. And it's like you kind of got them stuck in this weird middle area where it hurts the show. It's like either fucking commit to new people, because what it should have been is they brought in Reyes to be the Mulder kind of, and they were gonna like gender swap the characters and make, you know, Dogget the rational one and Reyes be the like woo weird person. But then for some weird reason they decided to flip Scully and make her Mulder too.
Yeah,
and then she was like kind of half in the episodes, kind of not. It was fucking bizarre.
It was really weird, and I do think that it shows like a lack of confidence in the characters and in the actors, and I think that's pretty lame, because I do think that Reyes and Dogget like work together. I really like their performances and their chemistry, and I think it's cool that Reyes, like, even though she's like the new Mulder, she's not Mulder. She has like intuition and like some like, you know, that aspect of things. Like Mulder has the intuition too, but she's like much more like, she gets like visions and like stuff, you know what I mean? Like she had more of that going for her, which I was interested in, and I thought it was cool.
I don't think Reyes is necessary. I like Reyes. I don't have a problem with her, but I think she's a mistake to put in the show. I don't think she's necessary. I think she's added character that doesn't need to be there. They just needed to bring Dogget in.
Well, if they're gonna keep Scully, I think yes, you're right. If they were gonna keep Scully, then just add Dogget. But I mean, like, if the goal was to have new people, I like Reyes.
I do like Reyes
as that like new person, and I
like Dogget a lot. Why not just make Gillian Anderson like the front runner of the show, and then have Dogget, who's coming in, and his like the rookie who doesn't understand the X-Files, and Scully's trying to kind of like, you know, explain them to him, but through a rational mind, and then his beliefs start to wane a bit.
I think
like
that
Reyes, just maybe have Reyes be like a consultant on the outside, like Scully was.
Yeah, I agree. If that had happened, I think it would have had like a stronger chance at like, I don't know, staying on the air. But I don't even know if it should have stayed on the air, because I think that the writing, like like we said, like it just they don't have the good overall plot.
And the whole plot just centered around trying to find Mulder. So it was like the show couldn't even let him go.
Right.
They were trying to they were trying to get the audience's hopes that he was coming back. That was the point.
Him going away was so like sudden
abrupt.
100%. They needed to have a send off for that character. Like they should have killed him if they really didn't want him to come back. Or, I don't know, something else. But, like, killing a character is a surefire way. Well, I guess not in this show.
They abducted
obviously,
him,
but, like, the abducting is,
it's fine.
But, yeah, then for it to just be, like, they're focusing on it and finding him, and,
They should kill him like they killed Skinner and just have him run over as he shoots Monica in the head, and then we see his feet sticking out of the fucking car like the Wicked Witch of the East.
Yep.
I couldn't believe that was the end of Skinner.
That was crazy.
I was like, oh, come on. Like, he's fine. Like, he'll get up, right? And then they just go out, and Mulder and Scully are kind of talking, and then they shoot the smoking man and kill him for the 747th time.
Because he's definitely going to die now.
And then, their kid gets away because he can take a bullet to the head, I guess. And then they kind of, like, go and they, like, hug on each other, and Scully, like, announces she's pregnant?
It was
with their baby?
Bizarre. Literally one of the worst endings
and then it just ends.
Ever
and you're
of
like,
a show.
Oh, we're done. We're not going to wrap this show up at all. We're just done. We're out.
So
That's
bad.
it.
Yeah.
No, like...
The show is like...
Them finding out... We didn't even get to see them find out that Skinner and Reyes were dead.
That's crazy. They did a very similar thing with the Lone Gunman, too, where, like, we just had, like,
Mulder
Scully...
does it. He's not even around for that.
Yeah. Scully just was, like, kind of at the funeral and was like... This is sad, like...
Then they tried to bring them back for the show, but it was like a consciousness that was in a computer.
It was just
Langley.
It was just Langley, yeah.
But
unexpected.
Weird, yeah. They show them in a dream as well.
Yes, and when Mulder's at, like, honky tonk world.
But one other one is there, I thought. I thought Byers, or maybe I can't remember.
Byers isn't there. I think it's just Langley and Frohickey. I don't think Byers is.
Because in the computer episode,
it's just Langley.
It's just Langley,
yeah,
for sure. Langley. But then there's a dream in the beginning of season 11, I think, and I think 2 of them are there.
Are you sure you're not talking about whenever he takes, like, the mushroom?
Yeah, it's like the dream sequence.
Yeah.
Or acid trip, or whatever.
He's like tripping, and that's pretty funny. That whole scene when he starts, like, doing the honky tonk dance and stuff, was very funny.
There's a lot of great moments and fun things, and I'm glad that we finished it.
I am too. It's a vibe show in that, like, I would for sure throw on episodes that we liked. Monster of the Week episodes, like, put them on here and there, just because, like, whatever, you're just fiending for some X-Files. But I will absolutely never watch the entire show again like this. Not only is it just, like, would take too much time, but it just is not worth it. Like, it is not worth it.
I would never watch an episode that deals with the through line.
Yeah, no.
Any sort. Any of the My Struggle episodes.
Oh my God.
All 4 of those, my struggle to get through them.
Yes.
Awful.
They were tough.
But funny enough, I actually really enjoyed pretty much every episode of season 11 other than My Struggle 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I really liked the, like... my favorite episode of the revivals is the Mulder and Scully meet the Weremonster.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That one's really funny. And then I actually really enjoyed the weird, like, atmospheric episode with the technology. Which I think is like...
I really like that one too. Where
RM9SB.
Yeah. That one
where they go
was
to the
great.
restaurant.
Yeah, and there's nobody working there, and it's all, like, robots, and they're not tipping. They're little, like, driverless vehicles and stuff. I liked that one a lot, too.
Also, the other one that I loved was the episode of the Reggie.
Oh my God, yes.
The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat.
Good.
That was great.
Oh my God. The Mandela effect, or the whatever
he calls it.
he calls it.
Yeah,
like, the show is at its greatest when it really leans into, like, absurdity and silliness. Like, it does those really well. But there's also other episodes that are Monster of the Weeks that are, like, separate from the overall plot, that are more serious, that they do well. Like, they can definitely do, like, scary and dark episodes. So, like, it just needed to, like, lean into both of those sides. But the funny, like, silly ones are so fun.
I actually take it back. There's quite a few episodes in season 11 I didn't like. I didn't like the second episode, which is the
Frohickey, or
the Langley on the computer episode.
Yeah.
That one's pretty
That one
lame.
was weird. That was really weird.
Plus one with the like chick and the brother who's played by the same actor, and they're like,
oh yeah,
predicting
they're like
people's
playing
deaths.
Hangman.
That's all right. The Ghoulie episode, which ends up leading to their kid with the two girls who attack each other.
Yeah.
Skinner Goes AWOL episode was all right. Like, but then I think it's episode 7, 8, and 9 here, especially 7 and 8. The one with the dummy familiar was cool. But yeah, there's just, I don't know, man. Because that one actually reminded me a bit of Channel Zero.
Yeah, same.
And then, yeah, I would say the revivals, they're more misses than hits, for sure. There's some good things, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the movie, the second film, I Want to Believe.
Oh my god,
Terrible.
awful.
Terrible
yeah, the
film.
revival, like, it definitely is really trying to bring those characters into the modern age, which is why that one episode, the RM whatever one, that's a really great episode because it does actually address like modern day technological concerns and like science fiction horror that people, like, you know, when it comes to AI and robotic like things now. But there's a lot of other times throughout both of those seasons, like both 10 and 11, where they just kind of make them feel like they do that thing of like they're just old now, like they don't get stuff sort of, or like they're just like out of the loop in some ways.
Yeah.
Or they try and like awkwardly make them like involved, and I don't know, I think that it needed a bit of like fine tuning on some of that, but you know.
I'm very happy we didn't have to talk about every one of these episodes.
I'm so happy too, because I wouldn't have. I would have been like, no.
One fun episode is this episode Improbable with Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah, I love that episode where it's
fun.
like the music is playing,
Yeah.
and he's like God or something. The whole that's a great episode. That's a really cool one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should have taken maybe some notes on like what episodes we really liked versus which ones we talked plenty about the stuff we didn't like, but yeah, sorry we didn't get to talk about every single episode if you were following along, but honestly we kind of pulled out at the right time. I think this show really starts to go downhill in season 8 and never recovers, and those episodes from there on would have been brutal to talk about. Because there are some fun ones. There are some really cool ones. And I'm bummed we didn't get to talk about the Were Monster episode and the Burt Reynolds episode and, certain things like that. Those are cool. And we never got to talk about Monica and John ever. Outside of this thing right here. Neither one of those characters had come in. We didn't get to find, talk about any of the conclusions with any of those like major characters, like the chess kid.
Right.
He comes back quite a few times, and of course all the bounty hunter bullshit, and there's just I don't know, man. Just if the show does get revived, just for the love of God, don't even bother with a storyline that's connected. Just do week to week scary monster fun stuff and call it a day. We do not, make it more like Twilight Zone. Make it just, kind of anthology type stories.
Yes,
I don't give a fuck
They've
the X-Files getting... How many times were the X-Files closed?
Oh my god.
Do you think?
So many times, every other episode.
Dude.
They're we're closing them.
It's closed. Or how many times were they replaced with different people?
Yeah, right.
Because we had that Spender,
and then we had
the other chick,
that other girl
who
for
was,
a little bit.
I forget her name now. Even the one that was like Mulder's, I don't remember. And then Dogget and Reyes, and then that that duo that came in, which
Yeah.
I just talked about, and the amount of times that like, and then we never really talked about Kirsch much, and like him coming in
Sure.
and trying to be the new Skinner, and how many
Kirsch.
times like the smoking man, like his whole thing where he's protecting Mulder because he's his kid and
I don't
all of
even
this stuff.
understand. That's why I was saying.
But then
it's
in
so
the end, he's
convoluted.
like, I'm just gonna shoot you.
Yeah, he's like, I don't
And he
care.
does.
Like,
He
he's like, I
shoots
killed my
Mulder in the
other
head,
kid.
but it isn't Mulder. It's the
Yeah.
other person. It's their son pretending to be Mulder.
And Mulder's like
shape-shifting.
upset about it too. He's like, he shot me.
Like
he shot me in the head.
he
And I'm
protects
like,
him the whole time.
You hate him. Of
he
course he
tells
did.
him that it's a big conspiracy. None of it's real.
Yeah.
This and that. And then, oh my God, don't even get me started on the whole like climax of the end of season 10, which is supposed to be like Scully's vision, which is taken back and then done again in season 11, and it's like leading up to that vision, and you have the dipshit from The Bear as like this Alex Jones type character, and she like calls in and she's like warning him like this is the time and this was when the whole world's gonna get taken over. It nothing literally
No.
amounts to nothing at
No.
all.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
so anticlimactic. It is so fucking ill-conceived.
Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
just very poorly handled for sure.
We're being so negative.
I know.
We're being
well,
so
it's because
negative.
we have
I
like,
love this show.
we do,
but just not
we
as a whole.
we really have a lot of like criticisms about it because we do love the characters so much.
Because of how we watched it.
And it is because of how we watched it.
If we were just
If we
reviewing
were-
this show from like a memory standpoint,
Oh,
we'd
yeah.
be sitting here
We'd be like,
blowing
it's
it
amazing,
right and
it's
left.
so great, but like we watched everything. Like we know everything that happens in the X-Files aside from the video game. Like
Yeah.
we
I
literally
played
have
that.
seen
I've
every
seen all
X-Files
of that.
thing. So it's like, yeah, I feel like we're very qualified to have our criticisms of it. It doesn't like it changes nothing as far as my memory of the show goes, or of the nostalgia, or the importance, or anything. It just gives me a lot more context now for everything because, like we said at the beginning of this, people weren't watching it like this. They were like tuning in one week, and then they'd be like, "Oh,
skipping episodes."
like 3 weeks later, like, oh, let me watch this one. Were there people that were like, watching it and TiVoing it or whatever and stuff? Yes, I'm sure. Like, yes, I know that there's probably like diehard X-File fans that were like, I love this show. It's the best thing ever. But to those people, I say you're wrong. It's amazing, but it is not the best written show ever. How about that?
No, it's not. One thing I was actually pretty surprised about in the revival shows, though, especially towards the end of the show, there's actually some pretty graphic gore.
Yes.
That I was like,
Yes.
holy shit. I was watching this with my 12-year-olds, and I
Yeah.
was like, whoa,
kinda the-
this
yeah.
is graphic.
The show has a few times where it gets like really pretty graphic as far as the gore goes, like dark stuff. And it was always kind of shocking. Like there was that one, I don't remember the episode fully now, but like we saw like the inside of a dude's skull.
Oh, yeah.
You remember? So yeah, like stuff like that we were like, that came out of nowhere. Like where was that?
Yeah, autopsies sometimes are very graphic.
Yeah.
So, and I like that. I mean, if you're going to
I do
do
too.
the episodes where this show like thrives the most is when they lean super into the horror,
Yeah.
or they lean super into the like ridiculous comedy.
Yes.
So like episodes like Monday at the bank with the reliving of
So
the
good.
day, great stuff. The Christmas episode in the Ghosts of Christmas Past episode, whatever the hell that episode's called, wonderful episode. Right, and then you got those are like the more comedy, fun show. That Burt Reynolds episode, the one with the fucking. There's so many great comedy episodes. The
Yeah.
Mulder episode that he directed with the alien playing
with
baseball.
I love that.
All that
episode.
stuff. Very fun,
Yeah.
very light, very ridiculous, over the top. Both, either way. And then there's the really dark horror episodes, the Fluke episode, of course, Home, which is
Yeah.
maybe the best episode of the whole fucking series.
Yeah.
Those are the two areas where it thrives. Anytime where it's trying to do the conspiratorial stuff and they're trying to do the aliens and the government cover-ups and the implants and everything with Scully's pregnancy, her abduction, the smoking man stuff outside of his backstory, the flashback episode, all of that shit, the bounty hunters, the syndicate, all that stuff, whatever the fuck they were called.
I think they were the syndicate, yeah.
All of that stuff is garbage to me.
Yeah.
I could deal with zero of it and be happy. Like, I want nothing to do with absolutely any of it. So stick to the really fun, goofy, ridiculous episodes, or do the monster, like, hardcore horror, dark, scary shit.
Yeah.
And make it weird. The Bermuda Triangle episode,
Oh, that
like
one's
stuff like that.
awesome.
That's where the
That
show
one's
does
awesome.
its best.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah, it's
The cops episode.
Oh my god.
X-Cops.
The found footage X-Files episode. So
Stuff like that.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yes.
Fucking phenomenal. The Giovanni
Yes.
Ribisi Jack Black episode where
So
he's
good.
where he's taking in lightning.
Yeah.
The Jinn episode where Mulder has to go through and get all the people back on Earth after he fucks up his wishes. Like
those, they're just
the best.
Those are amazing. Yeah, and that's really where we get to see like Mulder and Scully's like personalities shine and everything, and it's
Notice how I
so
didn't mention
good.
anything from season 8 on.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy we've watched all of it. I feel very accomplished with that. And, you know, of course, like, if they do bring another, you know, season back, we'll be watching it. Like, we will watch it for sure. I have a lot of reservations with it. So we will see what ends up happening. But...
Oh, you know, this episode, 4D, where Dogget's in the hospital and they, like, have to go into the dollhouse that's up in the attic.
Oh, yeah, I was actually thinking about that episode.
That was a cool episode.
I like that episode, yeah.
You know, there are episodes in...
It's when Monica is in, like, a coma. She's, like, dead or whatever. And Dogget's, like, he's awake trying to get her, like, out of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then that's not the same episode. I apologize. I thought... Is that what the one?
Yeah,
Oh, where
and then
he
it's the
shoots...
dollhouse.
They shoot the person in the opening, and then, like, she's coming over to his house in the morning,
Oh, that's
and he's,
a different...
like, reliving the day.
That's
and
a different
he's
one.
like, wait a
that
minute.
one's cool.
And
that
then
one's
he's
confusing.
shot in, like, a different...
Yeah, an alternate
reality, and they, like...
That one's really
have
cool.
flipped over into each other's
Yeah, that's
realities.
a different
cool episode,
That's a really
too.
cool episode.
That's 4D. And then
Sorry, the other one, though,
the other
that I
one
was
where
thinking
she's
of.
in the dollhouse.
Yeah, she's, like, in the
That's
hospital,
cool.
and there's the girl
Right,
that works
she's...
there.
That's the one where they're going to kiss outside the apartment, and then she gets in a car wreck. That's
The
what
one that you're talking
That's
about.
the dollhouse episode. Remember, she's dropping him off at his apartment. They have a moment where they're going to kiss. And he doesn't kiss her. Then he gets out of the car. Then she has a car wreck. He
That's
comes to
right.
the hospital, and she's like in a coma.
That's right.
And Scully wants to take her off life support. And
Yeah.
he refuses to let her, and he's
Yeah.
going around the hospital. And he
Because the
meets
doctor's being freaking evil.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great episode.
Good
too.
stuff.
There is good
are
stuff.
very
There are
good
good ones.
episodes in season
Yeah.
8, 9, 10, and 11. They
Yeah.
all they have episodes that are really cool. And there's other ones we're not mentioning.
There's an episode, like the one with Scully and Dogget, where Scully has, like, she gets, like, kidnapped by that freaky cult in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
That are, like, putting, like, some kind of creature in her spine.
Yeah, it's like the
The
bus.
immortality one or something.
The bus arrives and they
Yeah.
like steal that guy's.
That
yeah,
one's a
they're
cool, like,
switching
scary
on.
episode.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's great ones. There's great ones for sure. And we talked about some of the ones in, you know, seasons 10
This
and
is
11.
it. Audrey Pauly is the episode in the dollhouse. And then yeah, Improbable. That was the Burt Reynolds. That is in
That one's
season
an
8.
awesome episode. I love
Jump the
that one.
Shark is the ones where the lone gunmen die. Awful. Fucking awful. They like try to give them this send off where they're like
Heroic.
they're saving the world or something. They're saving at least the city. And they just
No.
take the fucking the gas instead.
It's lame.
It is very lame.
It's so
just
lame.
such a like uneventful thing. It's like, okay, because they're, I don't know, 2 of them easily could have ran out of the room,
Yeah.
and they all just start. And I don't know, maybe that's a good way to do it because like they don't
Instead
know
of
what to
killing
do
one
without
of
each
them.
other,
Yeah.
right? They like live together. They're like they don't exist without it. It's just if you're gonna do it, I'm fine with them doing it, but have it be more impactful. Have it feel more than it is. The way it... Oh, this is actually a cool episode, too. Sunshine Days, where the kid goes and he sees the Brady Bunch house.
Oh, yeah.
And it ends up
That
being
one is also
Ben
very cool.
from
Yes.
The Lost.
Yes.
Is the kid, and he's, like, recreating the house in his head.
Yeah.
That one's
he's
cool.
like, the house is like, he's got such psychic powers. Yeah, that one
That's
is really cool.
That's season 9.
But that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, Scully, how are you explaining that? Like, they see a one-story house, and then they walk in, and they're inside the Brady Bunch house.
Yeah, I mean, unless
Right,
they're in...
because she's there with them.
Yeah, unless they're in
Crazy.
Harry Potter,
Yes, exactly.
Or
It's not bigger on the inside.
National Lampoon's
Or
Loaded Weapon,
Doctor Who.
or, yeah, the TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's, of course, plenty of examples we can use
We're
for
just like,
bigger
all
on the
these things.
insides. Yeah. So, I'm just trying to look at other episodes really quick, because this is the last time we're going to talk about the show. But... What are your favorite episodes that we didn't talk about?
Yeah.
And, I'll comment below, for the 2 or 3 of you who are watching and care about this. What episodes were you bummed we didn't cover?
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about them in the comments.
Yeah.
If you talk about them. Because there's going to definitely be a few that I'm like, oh yeah, that one's really cool. So anything from season 8 on, if we didn't mention it and it's a fave of yours, or if you just completely disagree and you think the through line makes perfect sense,
Yes.
and we're nutcases,
Tell us.
tell us, and then we can tell you you're a nutcase. And we can both think we're both nuts. So that's that, I guess. The
That's
X-Files.
the X-Files.
That was much quicker than doing the 57 episodes
Oh
in
my
one
God.
movie.
Yes.
So
I'm glad we stopped.
I mean, I would have, like, if it was a hit.
If it was great, we wouldn't stop.
No. I mean, if, like, people
Oh.
were really, and if every fucking video we made was making, like, 1,000 views, and
Sure.
people were, like, stoked, and they're like, when's the next episode? We would have stuck with it, and I would have been fine doing it.
Yeah.
But, it would have been
It's just,
fine.
it's an older show, and most of the people that are, into it,
There's too many episodes.
they've watched it. They watched it when they were, younger, like when it was airing, or it's just a very niche thing now because it's so old.
We should have done them season by season,
Yeah.
and we should have done that with season 8. We should have finished off season 7 with a final episode review of the actual episode, and then we should have done season 8, season 9 individual season reviews per video.
Yeah.
That's the way
But
we
that's-
should have done.
that's what we're gonna be
But they're
doing.
too far back now. I can't
Oh, yeah.
remember anything
Yeah,
that happened in
no.
season 8.
And I don't want to. I don't want to go back. I like that we're like ending.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
But the way
It's
we're
just-
doing Buffy is the way I want to do
Buffy is
any older shows from now on.
because we are finishing up Evil
But
next.
you know what's funny is
Uh,
that now that we're doing this, the comments for the video that we put out are people like, man, I really wish you would have done episode by episode on this show because I would have watched the shit out of that. And
Well,
I'm like, fuck off.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, fuck
It's
off.
also, time-wise, too, for
Oh my
us.
God.
Like, we just don't have the time to be watching all the episodes and then spending, like, an hour or 30 minutes or whatever for each episode, like, talking about it. It's a lot easier to do it just, like, in bulk.
And you guys don't have the
And
time either.
You guys all, yeah, exactly.
Nobody has the time.
We have plenty of content that you can listen to anyway, so it's like,
100%.
Uh,
We just uploaded our 4,000th
yeah.
video.
So go watch all of those
4,000.
other videos if
And
you're like,
half of those were X-Files reviews.
pretty much. But I think the next old show we're reviewing, and it's not even that old, but Evil.
Which means that if we...
I guess
'cause-
Evil just finished,
So
actually.
57 episodes, and there was 217 episodes. So that means we covered 160 episodes on the channel. 160
crazy.
of our videos are X-Files reviews. Well, 161 now.
Yep.
Oh, and plus the movie, 162.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
4,000 videos, 162 of them are going to be X-Files videos.
Yep.
But it would have been 219 had we actually done it the way we were supposed to. So that's that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, next show we will review will be Evil. We're finishing up season 4. We
Has
were
some
watching it.
similarities to X-Files.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you are an X-Files fan and you haven't seen Evil,
Yeah.
it is a recommendation.
Yeah, if after...
So-
Actually, the best show to watch probably the closest show you'll ever get to the X-Files would be Fringe.
Yes, that's true. Actually, I would love to do a Fringe rewatch because I was so into that show.
Fringe is so much more sci-fi.
Loved it though.
I love Fringe too, and
So-
Fringe's through line is much better than this.
I'd be
That actually
down.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
This through line does not make
No.
any sense. I don't care
Yeah,
what
you're-
anyone says.
Fringe is much more sci-fi, but I would love to do a Fringe rewatch at some point and review it on the channel. I think that'd be really fun. But Evil has a lot of similarities, and I think if you like X-Files...
Yeah,
if
that
you
would be the next
basically,
one.
if you like X-Files with a religious, like, Catholic undertone
And
instead.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
Supernatural is another fantastic X-Files-like show.
I haven't seen it. We've started trying... I know we've started
4 or
it,
5 seasons.
like, maybe 3 times, because we keep trying to get the girls into it.
I loved it.
Because we can't watch it without the girls.
We'll watch that after Buffy and Angel.
I want to watch Doctor Who
That's
so bad.
Get the fuck out of here. That's way
No, I want
too
to watch
much.
the new Doctor Who.
I know, but even then,
No.
it's hundreds of episodes. All right, guys.
All right.
So, yeah, we already asked our like questions, apologized. We did everything we could.
Yeah.
We literally didn't talk about the film at all.
It
we just said
sucks.
it was terrible.
It's terrible. I don't want to talk about it.
They did like a whole like religious thing. The whole thing was based on like angels and whatnot, and like a priest who was molesting kids, which was an interesting angle that they went with. And Exhibit is in the movie, as well as Amanda Peet. It was interesting. Amanda Peet was a big deal for a minute, back in the whole 9 yards and such days. Whatever happened to Amanda Peet? I feel like I haven't seen her in a long time, but terrible film. Like, absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
I don't like. They're still not together.
Yeah.
They should have been like in that point.
It doesn't.
But they weren't.
No.
And then Mulder and Scully are living in like totally different houses, and Mulder's like a recluse, like in the new show, and
I have nothing
Mulder's
to say
in the
about it.
Yeah.
I thought it was awful.
I thought it was awful too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny that we watched a whole film.
Yeah, we didn't.
And we
even
were just
review
like,
it.
it's bad, and that's it. We didn't say one word about it.
It's
Otherwise,
bad. Well, you
but
said something.
I
so
finally just did.
Yeah.
Thank God at the very end.
I was literally like, I don't want to talk about it.
I clearly,
'Cause I'm like,
clearly,
no.
even now, you're like, no.
It's
Moving on.
Yeah, I don't feel like it offers anything to the show. So.
All right, well, I guess that's the last things we have to say about the X-Files on the channel. Outside of, I'm sure we'll make little references here and there in the future. But
yeah,
that was it, guys. After I started this journey, I wonder how long ago. At least 5 or 7 years ago. Like, I would be so curious. I can't check, really. I'm trying to see if I can. I can't, I don't think. But the very first episode I reviewed, like, back at, I think it might have been in my Cottonwood house. That would be like 7 years ago or more. Like, this is a long journey because I did the first 2 seasons. I did up until episode 11 of season 2, and then I stopped because no one was watching. And then we started watching with the kids, and then I was like, let's fucking pick it up again, and we'll start at episode 12 of season 2, and we'll take it from there. And then we got all the way up till season 7, episode 21, and we had so much negativity, and no one was watching, and we finally just said, fuck it. And then here we are, finally finishing this, because I don't think we've recorded an X-Files episode in, like,
months.
6 months.
Yeah.
4 or 5, at least 5 or 6.
Taking us a while.
4 or 5.
Taking us like a year to finish the whole series.
Oh, way more.
Or more. Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, a long time. So this has been a hell of a journey.
Yeah.
It's weird to be finishing it now. When I started, I never thought I'd finish it. When I quit on it, I thought I'd never come back. And then I came back, and then I quit on it. I feel like the X-Files.
Yeah.
I feel like I kept getting revivals.
Unfortunately.
And then there was like additions to the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to finish it.
Yeah.
So I guess we should just wrap it up. But this is like so many years in the making to finally finish this show, and we didn't even finish it in the right way. But at least
the
it's
show
here.
didn't finish in the right way,
True.
so we'll blame it on that. We finished the same way that the show did, badly.
Yeah, we didn't give you what you wanted.
Sorry.
Neither did the X-Files.
Yep.
So, do you guys want a revival? Do you want a Ryan Coogler revival with Gillian Anderson. I don't know. He hasn't mentioned David Duchovny for some reason.
Yeah, interesting.
And hey,
Duchovny's probably like, no.
and last thing I'll say on the matter, because this is something I should have been pointing out, because this is something I talked about throughout the entirety of the show. Gillian Anderson, what a babe.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
I mean, she stayed as hot and kept getting hotter through the whole thing. All the way up until season 11, she was still as hot as she ever was. And it was wonderful to see. And Duchovny looked great.
Duchovny does look good, yeah, throughout.
Through season 10 and 11. I was like, he still looks great too.
Yeah.
So they definitely kept on it. And hey, what the fuck? Where was Dogget in season 10 and 11? Did he just not want to come back? Is that what happened?
We were joking that they probably gave him some bullshit thing. That they were like, you're going to do this, just like Reyes is going to be working for the smoking man for some reason. And they're probably like, and you're going to be whatever. And he was like,
my assumption is that, as a fan of The Last of Us and as a fan of these things that have a lot of backlash, I'm sure that Robert Patrick is a guy who, he was brought into this show. He probably was not, accepted very well early on, and he only was there for 2 seasons, and then he left, and they probably thinks of it as a failure, and I'm sure a lot of fans were like pissed off and talking shit about him and this and that, and he was like, well, fuck that show, I'm not coming back. Especially if he has like a bullshit role where they're like, you're gonna be working for, fucking, you'll be, what's his name? Kirsch. You'll be Kirsch's right-hand man now.
Yeah,
or some bullshit.
I think that they probably, asked him but had, a horrible idea, and he was just like, no, I'm not doing that. So, I don't know. It was sad not to see him, though. It would have been nice, especially because Reyes, even though she comes back in a horrible way, but,
Yeah.
It doesn't, there's no closure. I don't feel like there's any, good closure with the show.
No.
So.
No, none, zero. Not with the relationship, not with the characters, not with the story. Nothing feels satisfying in the end.
Yeah.
So, in any ending.
No.
There's not an ending in this show where I'm like, that's good. I guess, okay, if I was to say, if the show was going to end somewhere, the best place would have probably been at the end of season 8 when Mulder and Scully were like, let's be together.
Yeah.
And they kissed over their bed of their kid.
Yeah.
And that would have been it.
Yeah.
And we would have been like, okay, they're together. And show's over. They have a kid.
Yeah.
They moved on.
Yeah.
Smoking Man might have been dead by that point. I can't remember.
Missing.
Whatever. That would have actually been probably the best place to end the show and never come back.
Yeah.
Or maybe the end of the movie, the first movie.
Mm.
I don't know. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let us know. I guess that's that. Thank you for taking this journey with us. For anyone who joined us through all of it, or joined me and then us, and we'll see you in the comments. And the truth is out there.
The truth is out there. So.
But the quality is not. Bye.
Bye.